I first came across the halo effect in the book called The Halo Effect. Broadly, the halo effect is simply our tendency to use strong attributes to color our interpretation of other attributes on the same thing or person. In the book, the halo effect is used to point at how we interpret the attributes of the leader of a business through the lens of how's that business doing. If the business is doing great, the CEO is decisive and knows how to stick to his guns and knows the way the wind is blowing. If that same business with the same manager is struggling, then he is insular and stubborn and unwilling to take new evidence on to change the way that the business is moving. Same CEO, same behaviors, same attributes, seen through two different lenses of how is the business doing. So that's kind of how I've internalized the bias, but it's not necessarily specific to the success of the business overall. It can also be associated with other strong attributes of a person or object. We are more likely to believe the opinion of people we find attractive because they have one strong attribute, it pulls up the other attributes around it. You definitely see the halo effect in the audience's interpretation of the qualities of a game. A game in a franchise that is beloved, but is known for being full of bugs, is seen as being full of player freedom and the ability to do whatever you want. And maybe it comes at the cost of a few bugs, but those don't really matter. As that formula ages and the halo is gone, now it is bug-ridden and there's not enough direction, the storytelling is too weak. Same basic formula, but colored by the interpretation of the game overall. You see this often occurring when an indie game pops out and rises into the conversation of the AAA space. Viewed through the lens of a AAA game, this game is probably relatively ugly and unpolished and is missing tons of features. But it's carrying this expectation of what an indie title is, so it's able to be seen as innovative and disruptive. But then what often happens is that halo goes away and the next game from that same studio, which is now viewed through the lens of a AAA game, doesn't get that same permission and is now seen from the other side in more negative ways. With people, we see this as well. Typically, when someone leaves a company, the context through which we view that person shifts, and what we used to see as an ability to keep going no matter what is now seen as stubbornness. What we used to see as an openness to opinions is seen as indecisiveness, because the context has changed. What we before were trying to color in positive lights because we were working with this person and we were trying to get the most out of them is now seen in the opposite way because they're gone and we are trying subconsciously to make that be a good thing as much as we can. The person didn't change, it's our context that changed. It's our way of viewing it. When we're marketing games, we can take advantage of the halo effect to some degree by recognizing the halo that we live in. What is the thing that is going to be used to view our product through a positive light? If we're a big studio like Bethesda or BioWare, there are certain characteristics that we are given credit for. Can we lean into that or disrupt that in such a way that the things that we are weaker at are minimized because they are seen through that lens of the thing that we are strong at? If we are a small indie, then that is a large part of our halo. We are scrappy and we are independent and we are able to do whatever we want. So when we are going toe to toe with other games, that scrappiness, that independence, that ability to be agile is our big advantage. That's where we get that benefit. It can also point us to the things that we are going to get a negative halo. If we are a large multinational corporation known for microtransactions and squeezing every single dime out of our players, then we need to go into any conversation knowing that anything we say is going to be colored by that negative lens. When we say we are going to have DLC, the automatic place that people are going to jump is that it's gouging. If we talk about progression systems and live service and anything that bears any relationship to things that have been used for monetization in the past, our halo of being money grubbing is going to be used against us. So that also points us to things that we have to both be careful of talking about, but also things that maybe we need to go and hit head on and address and say, we are known for this, we're not doing it this time. Or let's just draw a very firm line in the sand so that you know that despite what you might think of us, we're not crossing this line. But you're being measured against that halo that you're coming in against. So you can't say we're not going to do predatory monetization this time and then do a little bit of monetization because you've already got that halo. You're going to have to do very extreme reactive changes to shake off that halo. If you're known for over monetizing, you might have to do zero monetization. If you're known for having stories that are overly supportive of the military industrial complex, you might have to do a story that isn't just neutral, that is actively critical of that military industrial complex to escape your own halo. So being aware of the halo that the public views our game, our studio, our publisher through can help us shape the way we talk about our game to try to lean into the halos that are good for us and lean away from the halos that are dragging our perception down. But in our interaction with other products, when we're looking to determine what something does well or doesn't do well, we do need to take this into account because often features that are not really that great can be seen as amazing simply due to the halo effect of the product they existed in. And if we just go in and lift that feature straight up and put it into our game, we don't have that same halo. And suddenly what was seen as an amazing feature in that game is seen as a terrible feature through our context. So we need to, as much as we can, be aware of the halos around the various products we interact with. Similarly, when we're interacting with the people on our team, try to remember that you're going to contextualize that other person's characteristics and attributes through the context of your interactions. If they are in the department that is causing you lots of troubles, then a lot of their characteristics are going to be seen by you naturally through a negative light. Stubbornness and indecisiveness and unavailability. Whereas if they are within the context of a group that you have very positive associations with, those same attributes become rigor and an ability to listen to feedback and putting their nose down and doing as much work as they can. Keep it in mind, it's pretty hard not to be affected by this one because we are always looking for shortcuts in the way that we categorize people and things and objects. But like a lot of these biases, knowing is half the battle. So if we keep our eyes open, we can at least mitigate this to some degree. And there are opportunities to use this to your advantage on occasion. A special thanks to my members. They provide the resources that this channel needs to keep running. If you're interested in becoming a member, there's a link to that down in the description. We have merchandise. I'm wearing the If You're Doing Triage and You Should Be Doing Triage t-shirt, as well as the High Tea on the High Seas hoodie. There's a link to those down below this video as well, which also helps this channel out. We are continuing our way through the Bias and Fallacy series. What's something that you are interested in me talking about next? Have you noticed the halo effect? I think this one's kind of subtle and it can be very easy for you to be affected by without realizing. Have you noticed this shift in your perspective of someone or something as the context has shifted? Let me know this down in the comments. Also, let me know what bias or fallacy you want me to talk about next. I will see you again soon. Thank you.